Capable equipment. So basically, the hints I'm describing are here. So not writing them down is just fine. So let's talk about do. So now we've planned out a process that if you follow these steps, you'll do it. Remember, we used to talk about, in fact, some of us still do, if you want to shut a company down, what do? Just follow the procedures. Isn't that true in most cases? The air traffic controllers, when they really get mad at the government, you know what they do? They follow the procedures, and it jams up the entire airline industry. And everybody just sits back, you can't do anything. I said, I'm sorry, these are the procedures, I'm following them. It was my discretion to put less time between planes, but I didn't have to. Now, how many are you in the same situation? That if you really gave the instructions and said, I want you to precisely follow our procedures, that you could even stand the input of that. It's kind of interesting. I find in the world of healthcare, which is an interesting and strange kind of world for me. I know you all live in that world, but the particular thing is workarounds. It's an expression I only hear with healthcare. You know what a workaround is? What's a workaround?
Find a way to get around the company.
A way to get around the company procedure. They celebrate it. They go, wow, if we don't have workarounds, we can't do healthcare. I said, what you need to understand is that you've got processes that are so badly defined that you can't work them unless you work around them. And I can tell you this, there is no model of excellence in any industry whatsoever that doesn't rely on people following processes rather than working around them. So this is a model for mediocrity built into the very lexicon. I can tell you I got practically kicked out of an executive Veterans Administration meeting, not in this area, because the Johnson City one's extremely well managed, because they were about to have the monthly award for the workaround of the month. And this was an executive thing, because they thought only our people that care about the veterans would work around our procedures to make sure the veterans are served. Of course, they didn't think about the people who didn't get served because someone got worked around. And they basically asked me to leave because I told them that was the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of. Do it. Now that you've got a plan, you have to carry it out. So you've got to deliver that training, piloting it. You never get it right. So why don't you get it right in one place? I once asked Tom KOSBE, he was implementing something, and I said, why don't you go faster? And he said, David, he said, until I get it exactly right in one store, what's the point in going to the second store and screwing them up? Just because we're behind our schedule is no reason to screw people up. So we just wait till we get it right in one store before we pay the second. How many people have that kind of patience? You see all the stuff I learned from Tom and Powell. It's unbelievable. And then you got a role model. If you expect the behavior, you can't have exemptions. It can't be, during lunch rush, we don't really follow the procedures. Or executives don't have to follow the procedures, or whatever. It's really have you ever felt a little bit miffed when you're driving the speed limit? Okay, it was the first time, it was a new experience, you're busy going 65 on the interstate, and the police car goes by 80 miles an hour without its siren. And you're going, gee, why do they get to not obey the rule? And you feel like, well, if they can, why shouldn't I? So now the only question is, how much faster than the speed limit can I go before I get in trouble? So we have to role model it. And again, we'll talk about those standards in a one page. Like the check. You need to then assess the process. Plan, do, check. You'll find, never assume you get it right. You've always got to check. Pals gets a special order and it's not marked on the outside. We're going to, wow, it should have been marked on the outside. We need to check. Something's wrong. It may be exactly right, only the markings weren't right. But something's wrong and we need to check. So we've always got to have processes that are built in the check, and then you've got to have consistent follow-through. We implement way too many processes, way too fast, with way too little detail, and then we wonder why they don't work and we get to do them again. The very classic tale of we don't have time to do it right, but we have time to do it over is a tale we keep going into. I have a 23-year-old daughter who's in the publishing industry in New York City, and she basically told me that. She says they're ridiculously busy, mostly reworking their own mistakes. And I went, wow, how pathetic is that? And it's like there wasn't an end to this. This is what they do each week. And I asked her, why didn't she slow down and do it right? She says, well, we don't have time. Okay, check. And then there's act. You've got to motivate the manager to actually care to get it right. To say, that's not exactly the way we do this. And we've got to get everybody exactly towed to that very precise process that if followed, it will be done right every time. Can you imagine the number of coding errors you wouldn't have if everybody followed the procedures that you have right every time? In the medical area, you've got to motivate the employee to do it. And I suggest internal motivation rather than external. Piles is wonderful at designing in systems that you want to do it right, not that you have to do it right. Now, they're not going to tolerate it, but mostly the motivation is from the person wanting to do the job right. Because everybody's there wanting to delight the customer. And then when you either need to coach if it's not unstandard or recognize when it is. So you have an obligation when you've asked somebody to do something to assess to see how they're doing, figure out whether it's to standard, coach, or to recognize. So someone says, how many processes can you implement? Well, how many can you do this job in? How much can people really absorb at one time? And then you keep refining the process, improving it based on feedback. Now let me show you just a quick example. I'll just take a couple minutes from Road Runner. And let me show you what this actually looks like in reality, because I know you'd probably want to see it. So first of all, I'll just show you the document. And this is just, if you put Clay your email and your name, he'll send you this one-page Word document. And it basically has the process we just outlined. Okay, this is a Roadrunner checklist for new employee orientation. Now, it goes on. Let me just show you the detail. Now, this was the detail in which they now, when a new employee enters the system, they go through this entire checklist. Now, there's supporting documentation. This was just the checklist. Takes a couple of hours. They had this endless problem of people wouldn't do this, people wouldn't do that. You know what question we'd ask them first? Did you ever tell them? And the question was, well, they got 92 stores. Well, some store managers probably did, and some probably didn't. Well, how do you know when someone's doing it because they actually heard it? And how do you know somebody's not doing it because they've never heard it in the first place? They didn't even know they were supposed to do it. So what they did is said, well, we need to standardize that we know exactly what all our new employees has heard. Like, how about not bringing your cell phone into work? I mean, don't you love it when service people are on their cell phone rather than serving you? And it might be your standard, but have you ever really told all the employees that you can't do that? So what they did was, this is just an example of how they used what they learned from PALS to improve. Here was a definition of one of the processes they worked on was clean restrooms. This is the definition of a clean restroom. Before it used to be about 5 items. But when they really got to thinking, what did they really mean in their world? Because actually restrooms are a pretty important part of a convenience store, as we all know. What's really clean in the eyes of management? And look at the detail which they went to. Now, the management itself wrote this. This wasn't something they got out of a book. They went to the very point of saying not only did they talk about cleaning products, but they talked about the scent in which the cleaning products had, because it makes a difference. When you look at it from a customer's viewpoint, not only is it clean, but what's the bathroom smell like? So you'll see that this is the detail level of which it's gone to, and then this was the instructions they wrote. And remember, we have to give them precise steps that if you do this, you'll wind up with a clean restroom that will meet the specifications that you just saw. And what they did is they learned how to make it and communicate to their audience. They had first communicated to a bunch of engineers, and that didn't work out real well. And then they went back to say, how do we need to communicate so people can follow these instructions? And first time they were just overwritten. Said, we don't really have to tell people this to get this result. But they had to have enough things and to really be very clear about what we're talking about here. They standardized all their products. It used to be every store had whatever cleaning solutions they had. Now I said, no. We buy a standard cleaning solution because that's what we want. That's the effect we want in our restrooms. Because we know our customers value clean restrooms. And we're here to delight our customers in a way that they'll come back tomorrow, which is their mission statement, by the way. So can you see how this was used? And you can see how very, very different. Now, Roadrunner's always been a very well-run business. But how much better it's run when you just start refining your processes. Now with that, I can see time is up. And I'll be glad afterwards to take any questions or anything, but due to lack of time, won't ask any now. But very, very much appreciate you all being here. We hope if you're interested in it, let us know. We'll send it to you. If we can be of help to you implementing them, that's fine. If not, tell us about your success story, because what we're here for is to try to get you to use these principles to improve your business. Because if you look to your left and look to your right, chances are somebody you just looked at is a customer of your business, and they're going to be better off if your business is better run. We're all going to be better off as a community. And Mayor Phillips thinking about a community vision that Pal and Tom have. If everybody was world-class at their businesses, could you imagine the impact that Kingsport would have on the community if they couldn't touch anything, including city government, that people didn't say, well, that is really excellent. Can't quite put my finger on it, but I get treated better here than I get treated in other places. And do that while you're actually making more money and spending less costs. So thank you so much for allowing me to talk with you and share the story. Thank you.
So I don't have to try to swim in there. Woo, tight. Yeah. But thank you all for coming. Again, I was watching the audience as David was speaking to us, and everybody was in learning mode. People were taking notes. This is so important to do this type of event. We want our winners and everyone else to stay in business, and that's why we're doing this. We wanted to give you some nugget that you could take back to your workplace, take back to your business, and implement and make your business better. So I hope you got something out of it, and I hope that you'll give your email and your name and your business name to Clay over there in the corner. And if you can't get to Clay, you can leave it with us and we'll make sure that he gets it so that you can get these handout materials. And before I talk about the awards for this year, so that we can get our new award winners, our new award candidates applying for this year's award. But before I do that, I want to recognize our past winners that are in the room. If you can stand, I know it's tight, but if you can stand, please, and let's give them a round of applause. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to pass, if you could pass the microphone to the winners, just tell us who you are, and if there's something new going on with your business, just a one-line pitch, what's going on with you.
Diana Pipkin with Phil's Dream Pit, serving barbecue.
Hi, I'm Benson with Ito's Sushi Bar and Grill, located at the Old Hungry Farmer Restaurant off Weststone and Interstate 26. Please come see us.
Brandon Burris with Lake Point. We have a new store up the road, and just doing great.
Nancy Hart with Patient Scrubs, and we are doing pilots in 2 different hospitals. Rita Ratliff with Care Central. We're a senior home care company located in downtown Kingsport.
Thank you. Christina Runciman. I own Life Force Glass. We're a wholesale giftware manufacturer. Our sales are up 50% for July.
I'm Dr. Miller with Holston Medical Group, and utilize the services here all the time. And I'm going to tell you one story. I pull up to the window of PALS, and I say, "Tell me your mission statement and your vision statement." And it's amazing how many times they can do that. But I've got one store, and I pulled up the other day, and I said, "Would you please tell me your mission statement?" They said, "Hey, Dr. Miller's here again. Be careful." But it is amazing what they have done, and we use you all the time, and thank you for making Holston Medical Group the best healthcare provider almost anywhere. I want to introduce quickly Dr. Fowler. As you all know, I've stepped down, and pardon me for taking so much time. Now, and Dr. Scott Fowler is our new president of the Holston Medical Group. He's an OB gynecologist, an attorney, and a great person. So we're glad to have him. Thank you.
My name's Chris Cantu with AYP Automotive. Recently moved downtown on Center Street, 701 East Center, right beside Seaver's Donuts. Be a pleasure to have you guys come see us.
I'm Scott, and this is my wife, April. We are Mason Distributors. We have Triggers barbecue sauce, salsas, and now organic gluten-free corn chips that we get made in Bristol. They're available at Walgreens and Food City and Food Country. Thank you.
I'm Lindsay Zirkle with Cumberland Marketing, and right now we have been experiencing a lot of growth on our creative services portion of our business.
Hi, I'm Leslie May with Style Custom Framing and Gifts. We're located downtown, and we have just moved and expanded to 113 East Market Street. Thanks.
Got one more. I see you.
Good morning. My name is Russ Davis. I'm with Landmark GIS. We use computer mapping and geography to help you market your services and help you grow your business.
Let's give him a hand one more time. Thank you. Again, that's just so exciting to have everybody here. Very quickly in front of you, Mary Beth made some handouts, and there's a short sheet that says we're social, so you can see that we're on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. If you haven't already liked us on Facebook, please do, and also check out the Facebook that was developed just for the KOSBE Award winners. There's a page called www.facebook.com/KOSBE Awards. So please like that page. Even if you're not a winner, you can like the page. So we want you to follow us and be with us. And let's talk about this year's award. There's an application. This is the first time that it's been released this year. And we haven't changed anything with the application, not really, other than some dates and things. We'll be taking applications effective today, starting at 12 noon, and we'll be accepting those applications all the way through October 7th. So you do have plenty of time to get your application in. If you have any questions, call myself or Mary Beth McLean at the chamber. We'll be happy to answer the questions for you. It's not difficult if you just follow the instructions, right, David? If you just follow the process that we have set out, it's not difficult to do. There is an option to include a video in your entry, and you would just simply do a YouTube video. I believe it's a 2-minute limit. I'll have to verify that. But we would love to have your 2-minute video along with your paper application for this year's contest. I'm thinking, what else have we added? We've added a new category this year. We've added a veteran-owned business category. How many veterans in the room today? Wonderful. Yay. So that's a brand new category. And so we now have 9 awards that we will be awarding. The event will take place on December the 8th at the bank in downtown Kingsport. Beautiful facility. I think many of you have already attended that event with us last year. So I think the attendance will be awesome, so do buy your ticket early. We sold out early last year before the event, about 2 weeks before the event. I think that's it as far as the awards. So again, applications available starting at noon today through October 7th. The awards will be announced on December 8th at the bank in downtown Kingsport. Thanks for coming. But before I go, I think Clay may have some closing comments regarding PALS Business Excellence Institute.
Thanks, Andrea. Just in closing here today, one of the things, or one of the most rewarding things about what David and I do is having great feedback about the training that we provide. I think about Chris Como, who's the CEO of a hospice healthcare system in North Carolina. And I remember him coming up to us after training going, this is the most powerful 2 days of training that I've ever had. Just here in July, I think about Michael Ainsley, whose food service company, they're a public company, but they have some Buffalo Wild Wing franchisees and their own concepts that they run. And they told us after class, they said, hey, this is the best management training class I've ever been to. It's a real testimony to the management systems that have been built at PALS, the delivery that David provides. But even more rewarding than that sometimes is seeing that entrepreneur, that small business person come up to us, and you can just see the light bulbs that come on, and they can relate. They can say, wow, I can really see how I can use these principles and practices and integrate them into what I'm doing, into my concepts, to make my business more competitive and more stronger. And we especially like to see that happen for our local small businesses. And Pal's always told me, he said, hey, if our small businesses in this area are strengthened and doing better, hey, they've got to buy more hamburgers, so that's got to be a good thing too. So we really like to see our local companies take advantage of the resource that's right here in our backyard. So we invite you to do that. We've got training opportunities coming up September 20th and 21st. So if you're wanting to plug in or just talk about that more, please find David and I after this session. But we want to see the region strengthened, to see people more competitive and stronger. And with that, I just thank you for coming today, and I hope you have a great day.